Hi, I'm Maddie from Zero Waste California, and today we're going to talk about how you can reduce your Halloween waste. This is always a hot topic in October because Halloween is basically about two things: eating and decorating. We're eating at parties, we're eating snacks at work, we're eating candy, we're passing out candy to trick-or-treaters, and we're decorating. Maybe you're trying to make your front step look a little spookier by hanging those plastic cobweb strands, or decorating your lawn graveyard with styrofoam tombstones and plastic bones. I've been there. My dad and I used to do that all the time. I mean, for Halloween, not just like on a Tuesday. We were an odd family. And of course, we're decorating ourselves with costumes. And from those cheap synthetic materials to those really bad smelling masks, to the costume makeup itself, which is usually made up of plastic components, all of these things are coming packaged in plastic. That's a lot of waste for just one night. Am I right? So how do you reduce your Halloween waste? Well, I have a few easy tips for you. And don't worry, we're gonna get to the big question soon, because I know that's what most of you are here for. But first, let's start with costumes. Like I mentioned in the last Halloween video, try not to buy a new costume if possible. Either make one out of used materials, or borrow one from a friend, or just go to a thrift store and buy one secondhand. These materials are usually made out of synthetic plastics. So remember, if you do have to wash them, make sure you're washing them in something like a guppy friend so that they're catching any of those microplastic particles that are gonna break off and otherwise enter the water. Next, instead of buying costume makeup, which you'll probably just use once, then it'll get really hard and gross, and then you'll toss it after like a week, or maybe next year when you find it again when you're rummaging through your drawer. Just use the makeup that you already have. You'd be surprised what you can do with a few YouTube tutorials and a little creativity. Or borrow some stuff from your friend. You don't have to go overboard. Again, this is one night. Just be careful when you're watching those YouTube tutorials, because they will convince you that you absolutely need to get this product. But there's a good chance they're being endorsed by that company. And remember, this is just one night. Next, this is gonna be a hard pill for some people to swallow, but glitter is litter. There, I said it. Glitter is litter. Unless it says otherwise, glitter is usually made out of tiny bits of plastic and aluminum. It's basically micro trash. And I used to love glitter, really, I did. But now I just see it as little toxic fish flakes that we're just poisoning the environment with. They do make biodegradable glitter. In fact, I have some right here. And look, it works, and it's still shiny. You like put it up here. I actually bought this for my niece, and now I'm using it. Happy Halloween, Kelly. And another thing, pumpkins. We either carve them up as jack-o'-lanterns and then toss them into the trash, or we just leave them as decorations and then toss them into the trash. Either way, let's try to avoid the trash part. So if you can't compost your pumpkin in your own backyard, find a place that can. Recology in San Francisco can definitely compost your pumpkins for you. But if you didn't turn it into a jack-o'-lantern and your pumpkin is still good, use it for food. Some pumpkins are apparently better for making pies than others. This is a sugar pumpkin. It's small. It's called a sugar pumpkin because it's a little bit sweeter than your typical jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, which I also have. Well, this is just a medium carving pumpkin. So they say that this meat is generally not as good for pumpkin pie. It's not as sweet, but it's still good for soups and salads and roasting. Of course, you can always roast the seeds from both of them. I even found a recipe that uses the pumpkin guts. It purees them and turns that into a pumpkin pie. So we're gonna do some experimenting later today and see what we can come up with for both pumpkins. But that's for a later video. Now let's get down to the big question: candy. And I'll be honest, there isn't one easy answer, but there are a few options. But I have not been able to find any individually wrapped candy that is 100% plastic free. I really wish a company would jump on that. I have found candy like Junior Mints, Milk Duds, Mike and Ike's, things like that, packaged in cardboard, but those are generally packaged in a large plastic bag. I have heard people tell me they found them in large cardboard boxes, but I've never personally seen them, so that's not going on my list. Next, some supermarkets, like a few Safeways in San Jose, have started putting individually wrapped candy in their bulk aisle. So imagine a big barrel full of tiny Snickers bars. So yes, this eliminates the big plastic bag problem, but this just circles back to the original problem. These mini candy wrappers are not recyclable, at least not where I live, and probably not where you live either. And yeah, some candy is wrapped in foil, like Hershey's Kisses, which is technically recyclable, but just check to make sure your community can actually recycle it. So what's the solution, considering that 95% of the candy that's going to get distributed in 2 days is probably going to be the non-recyclable variety? The only solution that I've currently found is to collect the wrappers and send them to TerraCycle. However, you need to buy the pouches or boxes to send the candy wrappers in, and they're not exactly inexpensive. They vary in size and price, but not every family is going to be able to afford them. And I really don't think that sustainability should just be a luxury for the rich. So here's what I would love to see happen. Kid-friendly establishments offering to send the empty wrappers to TerraCycle for their community. And by kid-friendly establishments, I mean schools, libraries, museums, things like that. They could set up donation bins, and those that can afford to donate some funds could help offset the cost of the TerraCycle boxes. Then these places, say a library, could send out an email to the community letting them know that the children can come in to use the TerraCycle boxes to recycle their candy wrappers. This will not only benefit the library by getting them foot traffic, it will also make the community really appreciative of what they're doing. And even better, it plants the seed in the child's mind that, hey, everything I'm throwing away has to go somewhere. And maybe over time, they'll learn to be a little bit more responsible for their waste. That's the best case scenario that I can come up with right now, although an even better solution would be for companies to switch to a renewable material and skip out on the plastic altogether. Companies need to stop putting the responsibility of recycling on the consumer. Anyway, I hope you found these tips helpful, and I hope they inspire you to consider your waste a little bit when buying decorations and candy this year. Have a safe and fun and low waste Halloween. Bye!